Hey, welcome to Musings, episode number 283. I'm back.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Welcome home.
So, Scott, just so you know, did you see an alert about your Art of Scott page on StreamYard? It's not connected to Facebook.
Oh, it did not give me that alert when I signed in.
When you go back to the main page later, just try to reconnect that up. So,
Edit.
no big deal. We've got all kinds of cool stuff. So, hey, how's everybody doing? I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I know I did. I deep fried 2 turkeys. We had all kinds of great sides and had a nice meal. I had a chance to go visit Kevin Meinert and his family down in Indiana, and had a good meal down there too. And now I'm back working and getting ready for the holidays here, and pretty much work straight through to that because it's going to be a busy holiday season. It's already a lot of traffic out there. Hopefully that means good sales for places, and we'll see maybe some turnaround in the economy. Hopefully.
We're going to have a turnaround.
Yeah, I know. So, but hey,
it's going to be Thelma and Louise. Woo!
Pretty much. So,
no,
but hey,
not though. I hope not. But
no. So we've got some business to take care of here, so we should get that started. So, Scott, if you want to start us off.
All right. Well, hold on. You do Lauren yours first because I'm typing where the link is for when I do mine.
Okay. Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, PC, located in Belleville, Michigan and Dexter, Michigan. Take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient, offering on-site digital x-rays, massage therapy, orthotics by foot levelers, young limb essential oils, aromatherapy, full line of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. Give them a call, 734-697-4244. Visit my line at loringerfamilychiropractic.com. We have links at oddmusings.com. As a patient, I can attest that they do great work. I've seen a lot of changes in my health over the last 12 years I've been going. You don't always have to go like I do every week. You start off, and once you get to what's called the maintenance phase, that's where basically I guess some things work really good for you. Then you just go whenever you feel you need to go. Because of injuries I sustained in my car accident, I found that if I go every week, I feel much better in the long run. I can go a couple weeks without it, but usually by then I need to get back in there because things have fallen out of alignment again. So, Larger Family Chiropractic Center, been since day one, so definitely check them out.
Yeah, and I just want to give a quick chiropractic testimonial as well. You know, chiropractic care, both Brett and I are big believers in it, but I recently also started getting some chiropractic treatment just for general wellness. And I have to tell you, you just don't know how jacked up your body is in the day-to-day. Your body carries a lot of tension in it and tightness, and you just get used to it. It's your everyday, this is your normal. And after you go to a chiropractor, they x-ray you, check out your spine alignment, all those kind of things. And then they start working on you. And it's amazing how quickly you start feeling better. And it's not like, oh, you have to, for the rest of your life, you're going every day. Like Brett said, you'll go into a maintenance phase, but you'll actually realize how good you feel and be like, wow, I want to feel that good. And you have all these vertebrae in your back, slight little misalignments here and there that add up over the years. Just those slight corrections, you'll be amazed how good you feel. So definitely give Loringers a call and see what they can do for you. You won't regret it.
Yep.
And then we got Team Titans Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. It helps if I share the screen. Let's get this up here. There we go. Team Titans Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. That's right. Even though we utilize the latest in tools and technology to maximize your home buying experience, we never forget at the core, it's still a people business. That's right. And that's why Jill and I, we really take the time to get to know you, our clients. And this here on the screen is our Home Snap app. There. There we go. Yeah, I see it says here, streamline the Art of Scott. Let's see if I can hit share right now. Will it do it?
I don't know.
Oh, it said yes. There we go. HomeSnap is an awesome tool. It puts the power of the MLS right in your hand. What is the MLS? Multiple listing service. That's what we agents use to, whenever we list a house, it goes on there so all other agents see it. When you're looking to buy a house, I'm able to see what all other agents have listed. A lot of information at our hands. Well, you can use that same information in the link I just posted in the comments there. Go there. It'll take you to this screen here. You can set up your own searches. But if you go down here, scroll down a little, it says download the app, text me the link. Type in your phone number there. It will send you a link to download right to your phone. It's really cool. You can just keep an eye on what's going on in your subdivision where you live if you want to track your own values. You can also send me a quick little hello here if you have a question about a specific house. Or even like, let's say you're on vacation somewhere. You're down in Florida. You're wondering what local house prices are. Pull up that app. It'll tap into the local MLS down there as well. So if you're thinking about a vacation home, a summer home, winter home, whatever you want, you can look up stuff and ask me questions about those houses. So check it out. That's the HomeSnap app. It's pretty cool.
All right. Very cool. Yeah, I keep hearing different things in the whole market. So Facebook's in. I got another notification. Bardstone Publishing. Odd Musings episode streaming. So to remove this destination for the Bardstone we'll just edit it and we'll save changes, see if it keeps it. So I don't know. I know you were breaking up Scott. So if you're on your office Wi-Fi, it may be a little taxed.
Oh, all right. It says I have a strong signal, but you never know.
It's better now, so who knows?
Okay.
So
I'll get my phone ready in case I have to switch over to the tethered.
Yeah. Morning, Kevin.
So we had Thanksgiving this last week. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And we weren't on the air then. The week before, I did a live stream drawing, just very quick demonstration there while Brett was out and about. And you were down in Florida, weren't you?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I was in Florida when you did that show. Got a chance. I got a fun little story there was we get in, check in the hotel, and I'm walking through the lobby. We're going to head over and hang out at the parks a little bit and get something to eat. And I run into Jessica Fisher. Known Jessica for a long time. Her dad is G.W. Fisher, who traveled with artists, stuff like that. And all of a sudden she says, she goes, I know you. I said, of course you do, Jess. You hadn't seen me in a couple of years. And she just gets up, gives me a hug, knows who I am. And she goes, Dad's here.
Oh,
so we hung out. I hadn't seen GW since 2017.
I think I was with you.
And so got a chance to hang out with him, visit with him for just a few minutes that day. He messaged me on Sunday, and Monday him and I hung out at the parks a little while. Then we went and had dinner with him. He was there visiting Jess, but also brought two of his sisters with him, and because they all had birthdays around the same time, so they were enjoying a birthday week at Universal. So we ended up going out to dinner with them at Disney Springs.
What are the chances that you run in that way? You know,
it's meant to be. It was the perfect timing. It was just meant to be that way. So, it was great to catch up with him and see how he's been these last week. He stopped doing shows. Still got some back issues. So sitting or standing in one place for a long time is very hard. He can definitely walk. He can ride some rides, but he just can't stand in one spot. So that's why he quit doing the shows too. Standing and sitting in one spot. Has to move around a lot. But still doing some artwork. He, in fact, had a guy gets commissions from me delivered down in Florida, and you get to visit with him because someone he knows, and that. So it was great to catch up. Hadn't, like I said, seen him a long time, and I was just meant to be at that time. So we had a great time at Universal all together. We did the whole Christmas stuff. They have Grinchmas going on in Seuss Land. We went and met the Grinch. We went and saw the Grinchmas show. Sammy Castillo come out and hung with me for a day, so we had a great time catching up with her. So just a good time. I love the Christmas stuff at Universal. It's a lot of fun the way they decorate. Saw the projection on the castle for the Christmas stuff for Hogwarts, and just had a blast. So a lot of fun, and can't wait till I go back in February. I'm going back in February when they start up Mardi Gras.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Well, I won't share the story. There's a funny story with GW. I'll share it off screen with you.
Okay.
He's a great guy.
Yep.
So. Yeah, so you did that, and then you got to go down to Indiana and you saw Kevin and the family down there.
Yeah, I spent a couple days down there with them. Kevin actually came up the Friday before Thanksgiving, right after I got back from Florida, he came up, brought his daughter Chloe, and we actually went and saw a couple bands down at St.
Oh,
Andrews
that's right.
Hall. So I got to see them a little bit ahead of time, and then we went and saw Wunderbar, which is what Chloe wanted to see. They were the opening act for Guster.
Oh,
I was mildly familiar with Guster. They've been around since the '90s. I did not know Wunderbar. They were good,
oh,
and she
cool.
got a chance to meet the lead singer. They bought an album, had him sign it, and she had a great time. So it was fun to go down there. And they were just doing the tree lighting, so we could see some of the lights around Detroit and everything else when we were down there. So it was a little bit busy in that Detroit, but we found good parking right next to St. Andrews Hall. They got a lot more parking going on down there. It's much easier. They got these new apps. So if you have to go downtown Detroit, definitely get on the apps for parking. And you can secure your parking. It costs us like $10 to park, which is great because a lot of times you show up and it's like, hey, it's 40, 50, $60. And, things like that. And if you look, there's like a block away in a secure parking structure, good parking. So,
Mhm.
so it's not bad down there. So definitely check that out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us, we for us personally, we had some real estate deals that we've been taking care of, so that's been nice. Always
Mm-hmm.
good to have business going. We had a closing. Today's Wednesday, so Monday. So 2 days ago, we had a closing. Great clients. It's so nice and rewarding when you have good clients who you just. It's so nice that you're helping them get their home that they've been looking forward to, and their families all excited. And it's real. Clients like that are what makes you really love real estate. So really appreciate them using me. Also did the Santa Land Parade, getting back into my 501st/Rebel Legion interactions there with COVID. It's been 3 years now. My last event was 2019 Santa Land Parade down in Garden City, Michigan. And so that was my last troop, as we call it, where we costume up and go out. So it felt really good to get out and reconnect with those people that I haven't really seen. I'll see them a little bit at shows, but usually I'm set up as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
and they're busy, walking around interacting with fans. So I don't usually get to really hang out with them or talk to them much. So it was really nice to reconnect with Al Tong and a number of other people as well. So that was really good. And it's always fun. I wore my Hoth Rebel pilot outfit, so I was representing the Rebel Legion in this particular one. We had easily 50 people there,
Oh, wow.
all in costume, and we always are towards the end. We escort Santa into town after Thanksgiving, so it's always fun. A really fun interaction was our so when we get set up, we're ready to go marching in the parade. All the cars and floats get lined up in a particular order, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of kids. Like I don't I think it was a dance group, but I'm not sure what. But there was this group next to us, a whole bunch of kids, and they see Santa getting out of the vehicle, getting ready to get in his float with the reindeer and sleigh, and they start freaking out. They were so excited for Star Wars, but once Santa was seen, oh, we were nobodies.
Oh, yeah.
Santa was the main attraction, and they're all like screaming and jumping up and down. And one little girl, I heard her go, "It's the real Santa," and they were all excited. And Santa saw him, waved. So then Santa walks over, and they just flooded him a giant hug, and that's that's part of the magic of Christmas. Seeing all
Mm-hmm.
that, the joy that he brought, and they're all hugging and all that. And oh, we got Ashley's watching. She's got Lillian waving at me. Hi, Lillian.
Yay.
That's my granddaughter, Lillian. Um, but then what was funny is after he interacted with all the kids, Santa then turns and walks to our float where our emperor is set up. The emperor had a recliner chair as his throne, and he had a giant book called The Nightmare Before Sithmas. And Santa approaches him and chastises the emperor for being on the naughty list for so long. And our emperor started like shooting force lightning, and Santa blocked it and was shooting force lightning back. So it was the duel of the ages that unfortunately only a few of us got to see. They definitely need to do a new Star Wars holiday special. I think this would have been perfect.
Well, speaking of holiday specials, we didn't talk about it last night. Did you watch the Guardians of the Galaxy one?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't even post that in our preview list. Yeah, that was great. Really enjoyed it.
Oh, here we go. Michelle's pointing and waving too. Michelle is now officially retired from the post office.
Oh,
She's probably
congrats.
still laying in bed reading her phone because she can now and not have to worry about things. So. Yeah, I watched the Guardians of the Galaxy last week. I watched it again with Kevin and Brandy and them. I liked it. I thought it was fun. It was a nice little jaunt. There's a lot of little nuances in there I think are hints to the movie that's coming out.
Yes.
I mean, this is not necessarily a spoiler for the special, but they mentioned at the beginning that they bought Nowhere from the collector.
Yep.
So they're now in that giant head of whatever that was, floating through space, and they're making it their home base now. And Groot is now a little bit older, also a little more stockier.
Well, it
Skinny.
just looked like a guy in a costume.
It was, yeah.
It didn't look like Groot before looked like a living being.
Yeah, I think that for the special they went that route, and I'm waiting to see what he looks like in the movie.
Yeah, I have a feeling they just were saving money on CGI.
Oh yeah, because most of it was filmed very practical and a little stuff here. It was definitely a lower production quality, but I did like the whole kidnapping Kevin Bacon bit. So
that was hilarious. They did a great job. I thought it was funny too. The whole bit they're doing where, oh, he's an actor. We hate actors. Actors are scum.
Yeah. And then what's her name at the end? Karen Gillan's character. I guess all actors are full of shit.
Yeah.
So maybe it was good. I like the fact that we got to see Kevin Bacon sing. He's had him and his brother have been the Bacon Brothers band for 20 some odd years now. So besides acting, he does that for fun, folk singing and stuff like that. And he's actually really good. And so that was kind of fun. And then the band they had that was backing up, I'd never heard of before, but they've been around for several years. And I like their interpretation of what Christmas is from Aliens.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I thought they did a great job. They do a little flashback sequence using animation. With
and I read about that, and you could tell it looks like heavy metal. It looks like a back sheet. They basically they filmed the actors. So they filmed Michael Rooker. They filmed the kid to play young Pete. And what's his name that plays the other guy, and then they rotoscoped it animation wise to give it that kind of give it that holiday cartoon feel.
Yeah, that's very similar in what they did with the He-Man series. A lot of rotoscoping for that. So very well done. I enjoyed it. A little controversy within Marvel, I guess. I don't know if we can talk about spoilers or not. I don't think it's a big deal, but they had released something else that revealed a big twist that was revealed in the Christmas special, which I didn't think was a big twist.
Yeah.
What do you think? You know what I'm talking about.
No, actually, go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah. So they reveal Mantis is Peter Quill's sister.
Yeah.
Via half sister, I guess, technically, because of ego, both have the father. But the way they revealed it didn't feel like it was this major reveal. And they accidentally let it slip through another series. Was it Marvel Legends?
Yes.
And then so they pulled it off the air because Marvel, I guess, was upset that they revealed this twist. But the way they revealed it, when I heard it, I'm just like, oh, I must have forgot that they were brother and sister. And I do think there's a line, but I'd have to double check. Somebody else has said it. There's a line where she calls herself says we're children of ego. And well, she's a child of ego and Peter Quill is a child of ego, that would technically make them related. So I don't know. I didn't feel like it was this big revealing moment the way they did it.
Yeah, so I think what it boils down to is people just, especially a lot of people just get very upset with, oh my God, they told me this over here and I should have waited till after I saw this. And it came out early enough in the special that it wasn't like a big reveal at the end of the special. I mean, she tells him at the end, but it wasn't that big a deal. She mentioned it earlier. It's like I like her and Drax going. She's like, well, I got this big special or this secret. Oh, that you ate all the Zagnuts.
Yeah. I feel like they were trying to go for, in their heads at least, they were trying to go for like the big reveal of Luke and Leia being brother and sister. But the way it was executed, it just was like oh, okay. Like, I don't know. So if that's what they were going for, I think they failed at that. But the holiday special as a whole, I thought was a big success. Very funny, definitely worth watching. I thought they did a great job of. Chris Pratt does such an awesome job as like when the lights all go on and you see the awe, like he really captures that awe of
Mhm.
Christmas in his face when he's like looking and stuff. So I thought he did a good job there. And then just Kevin Bacon playing himself was hilarious.
Yeah, I love when guys like that can play themselves, and they do it in such a way that they're kind of making fun of themselves in a way, but enjoying stuff too,
I,
and that. So
I did see an interview with Kevin Bacon. He was talking about he didn't know when the first Galaxy Guardians of the Galaxy came out. He didn't know that he was such a focal point for Peter Quill. So he
mhm.
went in the theater not knowing he was going to be mentioned at all. And then during the movie, it's like, oh my God, they're like talking about me a lot. So when
Yeah,
he got out of the movie, he called his wife and he's like, you got to see Galaxy Guardians of the Galaxy. There's a big reveal in here that I think you're gonna like, and he didn't tell her, so all the fascination with Kevin Bacon came up, and so he didn't. He was never aware of it at the time.
yeah. So yeah, I thought it was good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It's about 45 minutes long, so it's pretty good to
Mhm.
get to see Cosmo actually in action, the dog, and so he's part of the hanging out in that area there, and um, they oh gosh, what's his name? It's Gunn's character that took over for Rooker basically.
Yando,
Yeah,
yeah, the new leader there.
yeah.
I forget his name.
He's now got the mohawk,
Mohawk.
and he explains it, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm not very good with it, but I'm learning it." So, um, well, yeah, it's just a lot of cool little things in there. I thought it was really neat, a lot of fun. The basically the majority of this is really Mantis and Drax. So,
Yeah.
uh, and they did shoot this. I read about the simultaneously with the movie, so they reused the sets, reused some
Mhm.
stuff. They shot it during around the time they were wrapping up stuff for that. So it was to keep the cost low, and it's
Yeah.
basically what it was. So, but yeah, a lot of fun. So definitely check out
And
Disney Plus's Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
a little side note too, kind of related, is Gunn, James Gunn,
Hmm.
now is heading up the DC um, movie
Yeah,
slate, the DC universe, cinematic universe. However, I don't know if they're how they're calling it now. If they're changing it, originally it was DCEU,
yeah, I think
but
you're going to change that. They're
yeah, I think so too.
because he's come out and talked about that already, saying that he's going to start. There'll be some side Elseworld type stories, kind of like how Joker
Yeah.
was, and they're doing another
Right.
Joker, things like that. But he says going forward, his plan is to integrate the movie stuff with any TV stuff they do, and things like that, and try to get it more a cohesive story going overall than just throwing stuff out there like they've been
Yeah.
doing. And so
Yeah.
I figure, well, let's see what he can do. Give him a couple years, and it's going to take a couple years before the first real stuff comes out. That's going to be
Yeah.
starting it up. But they're going back to the core of DC, which is Superman. And they're supposed to be doing Man of Steel 2, and that's
Well,
supposed to be kicking it back off.
I
So,
think Dwayne Johnson wanted to be.
yeah. Kraglin.
Oh,
Yep. Hey, Miles. Yeah,
Kraglin.
Kraglin.
Thank you.
Yep.
Um,
See, I got too many names go through my head anymore. So,
Dwayne Johnson really wanted Black Adam to be the core, but Black Adam, they had a really strong opening weekend, but it bombed after the opening weekend. Their numbers are nowhere near what they thought. They were
yeah.
like globally, 400 million globally. Uh, Black Panther surpassed Black Adam in 2 weekends of what Black
Well,
Adam did in many
Black
weeks.
Adam pretty much quickly is already, you can now watch it at home. It's
Yeah.
on demand. It'll probably be on, I think it's early January. It'll be on HBO Max. So they're moving that pretty
Yeah.
fast. I
And
personally, I wanted to like it. And
yeah,
and what it boils down to is the story just
it
wasn't there.
wasn't good.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. I'm sorry, DC fans. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
And they completely the character was portrayed all wrong. I said this before, I'm not going to turn this into the whole thing, but you have
Now
a
you can go
very
back a few
physical
weeks and
action.
watch our episode on
Yeah.
it.
But with Dwayne Johnson being such a physical actor and all this stuff, why do you have him just floating around shooting lightning out of his hands like the Emperor or something? Like it just didn't make sense, and the storyline sucked, the execution. And then Dwayne Johnson's he talks about being this huge Black Adam fan, but he absolutely refused to allow it to be part of Shazam, which that's his Shazam and Black Adam are the two main arch villains, but he really wants to make it Black Adam versus Superman.
Right.
So I I think Dwayne Johnson got too involved. I think that's part of the problem. I'm glad Henry Cavill's back as Superman. I hope
Mhm.
he continues. But it just became another Dwayne Johnson movie. It wasn't a Black Adam movie. It was a Dwayne Johnson movie. And that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, and that's
So,
the thing, and I think that's what James Gunn's getting at is, this is all stuff that was coming out that he had no control over. So now
yeah.
going forward, and it's
And I
going to
guess,
be in a couple years before that's going to really happen
yeah.
with the first Muleys that they'll have to, as a relaunch because they got to get through all the other stuff. So,
Well, and I read an article, and once again, you don't know how much this is generated for attention or not, but supposedly DC fans were outraged that James Gunn was spending time promoting the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special and some stuff with Guardians Galaxy 3. And he made a statement saying, listen, the studio knows my existing commitments, and that doesn't change my commitment to DC, but I do have other commitments that I will have to play out. And that's,
mhm.
everyone knows that. Like, so, but part of me wonders, is this just generated outrage for, just to keep things on the front page? I don't know.
You never know anymore, but it's just also get the fanboys that get a little too ridiculous on stuff. Like, well, he's supposed to be doing this and he's supposed to be doing that. It's like, you know
Yeah,
what? He
he's
did
DC
everything.
now. He can't do Marvel.
Yeah, they all bounce around. Go back and look at some of the great artists. They've bounced around between Marvel and DC a lot. So,
Yeah.
but hey,
If Hulk Hogan can wrestle in WCW, even though he was such a staple in WWE, then James Gunn can jump around between Marvel and DC.
right.
Well, we got a ton of other topics.
Yeah. Let's
This
switch
is an
on over to
action-packed show.
Andor. Yeah.
Andor. I
See,
love this series. I really enjoyed it.
yep. The entire first season is now available to watch.
Yeah.
So you can definitely watch that. Um, and I personally, it's been touted by a lot of different critics as probably the best the best Star Wars series out there. One person I noticed in an article mentioned about the fact that, well, there's not one lightsaber and it's still Star Wars. It's like, well, Star Wars wasn't always about lightsabers.
That's my biggest pet peeve right now. And actually, this is what I was going to share here just to
Mhm.
show. It's oh, there were no Jedi, and that's why it was so good. And it's like, really? It good writing is not a specific character.
Right.
It's like part of it is there shouldn't be any Jedi in this if you're staying true to the timeline. Right now, the purge of the Jedi have already happened. The few that are left are all in hiding. There shouldn't be Jedi,
Yeah.
you know?
No, and there wouldn't be. It's just like Solo. We didn't have any Jedi in Solo except until then
Yeah.
you see Darth Maul. But even then, we didn't see Jedi. We didn't see them fighting. It was just a hologram of him speaking. So,
Yeah. And there is this group of fans out there who they claim to be fans, and I'm sorry, you're not. You're fake fans. When your whole purpose is just to tear down what the essence of a franchise is, just so it could be something completely different, you're not a fan of the franchise. You're a fan of just tearing stuff down.
yeah.
And even though there were no Jedi in this, Andor was still very true to Star Wars. There was nothing. And then we also have people who are mad, like saying, "Oh, this sucked because it didn't have enough of the other stuff." This was Star Wars through and through. I think it's mislabeled. I don't think they should have called it Andor. I think they should have called it the Spark of the Rebellion, because this is really the birth of the rebellion, is what this story is.
Yeah, I mean,
And,
I think coming up with the name, we follow Cassian Andor, but
right.
there's 5 stories basically going on through this whole thing,
And this
and
is
it's
just as
covering
much
everything.
a Mon Mothma series in a lot of ways. She's not as prevalent as Andor, but there's a lot that you learn about the birth of the rebellion on Mon Mothma's part. We never
Well,
knew about her family, and
she's got a lot of story. I mean, we learn
yeah,
she's married. She learns she has a daughter. As I
yeah,
go through this first 12 episodes, keep in mind it's only the first of 2 seasons. So any complaints about how it ended, which I saw some of that,
yeah,
I was like, it's ridiculous. It's ending on a point where the next season come out, it'll complete that
yeah.
story. It's not a complete story yet. The daughter is now we learn that where the planet they come from, Mon Mothma and several others, had some traditions they've tried to get away from. Well, the daughter has got friends from their planet that on where they're based at is going back to the old ways, which is also what we saw at the end when she's being married off at a young age,
Yeah.
which was the custom in that.
What I also loved about this series is, once again, this is the birth of the rebellion, and you're seeing the sacrifices, but sacrifices come in different forms. So with
Hmm.
Andor, there's a lot of personal sacrifice he's doing, right? As far as with his family and, well, his mother, who become
Yeah.
Mira, uh, Harry Potter's stepmother,
Ant.
and aunt. That's
Yeah.
right,
Marva.
Marva.
Yeah.
That, you see this, the kind of sacrifice Cassian is doing, and the people on Ferrix, how they sacrifice to rise up. But then you also see the sacrifice Mon Mothma is making. She's a very high political figure, but she's spending her personal wealth to finance stuff. You
Yeah.
see the sacrifice that Luthen is making, where he gives a epic speech, and I'm, if anyone really pays attention, the cloak he wears, when he has that on, he looks very much like Darth Maul. They're trying to
Mhm.
make him look like a villain because he's using the tactics of his enemy. He's willing to become the enemy and just as evil as his enemy to save future generations. That's his sacrifice.
Yeah.
And so I love that they're showing all the different types of sacrifice. There's different ways that different people have done to make the rebellion be born.
Right.
I thought that was really good.
No, we're seeing a lot of that. It's I think that's what the best point of this is. It's not just following I mean, Cassian spent what, 4 episodes in the prison?
Right.
So
Oh,
and
that
we
was
learned
really well done too.
and we learned that a lot through that, because that also showed he could help, inspire a rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we got to. He's not just a thief. He's just not someone that does. He's not just a
Yeah.
mercenary, basically. So,
He's the
um,
reluctant leader. You see his leadership qualities taken over, but he wasn't trying to be a leader.
yeah, and we saw what they were actually building is actually part of the Death Star. It's actually part of the array dish that is going to send out the
The
destruction for
super
planets.
laser there.
And it's kind of interesting because basically when they're attaching, all those robots are attaching the pieces, I'm going, oh, it's kind of like spacers when you're putting up like
Yep. Tile.
backsplash or something, tile and things like
Yep.
that. It's essentially what it is, but it connects everything. So it's like, wow, they
Yep.
were just building the spacers, but it was neat. You see all these droids and how big a scale it is, and the
Yep.
fact that the Death Star itself is completed except for that dish part and look
Yeah.
wise. We don't know about internal part of everything yet,
Right.
but the outer look is there of what we know
Yeah.
of the Death Star.
And the other thing we know from the other movie, Rogue One, is part of the issue with them completing the super laser right now is they're now harvesting kyber crystals from everywhere,
Yeah.
because that's the power of the laser. So they're finishing the super laser, and they're harvesting kyber crystals from all around the galaxy. So and that's got to go in there as well. So I give this series an A+. I think it's very well done, and it definitely gives. I think they could definitely go with the same tone for if they decide to do. Off air, we were talking. I would love to see an Emphas Nest or a solo series, a Crimson Dawn series, something like that that fits in this time frame, and that whole tone. It even the galaxy right now is in a depressed state. The Empire is taken over. They're creating blockchain to track your money.
Mhm.
I think that's happening now in real life. We we got all these different things happening. So the tone is perfect
Yeah.
for the state of the Star Wars universe in this time frame too. So
Yeah, and this has been a great era to explore between the solo movie, Rogue One, Obi-Wan. Now, they go back to the animated stuff between the Rebels. Exploring this time is a lot of. There's so many stories to tell that are way outside, but still relevant to the Skywalker saga.
yeah,
Everything leads around that, but it's great to see all this other stuff that's going on. We're learning how the rebellion's getting built here, what they're doing with that,
yeah,
things of that nature. And that's been the part I've really enjoyed about
yeah,
a lot of this stuff lately is that, we're seeing the foundation of what's actually adding to the story of what we already know.
yeah.
So,
The last bit I want to throw in is one criticism that I'm driving me nuts too. Are people like, what's good about Andor is it shows a regular person can rise up, and you don't need to be a Jedi or some galactic hero who's in a position of privilege. I'm like, give me a break. Star Wars has always been. Luke was a farm boy.
yeah,
He grew up as a farm boy. Yes, he has genetics with Anakin, but he could have easily chose not to go out and fulfill his his potential. And
yeah,
Star Wars has always been about fulfilling your potential. We all have that hero within us. We just have to be willing to rise up. Han Solo was he was a smuggler, He smuggled drugs around the galaxy with his mule
Yeah.
Chewbacca. That's who he was, but he became a galactic hero,
Yeah.
and so the hero's journey has always been there. On Jar Jar, he was an exile from his people and a goofy little thing, and he became a galactic hero. It's Anakin was a slave boy who became a galactic hero, and then the
Right.
ultimate galactic villain. So it's always been about that nobody who found it in themselves to stand up, and that
Yeah.
has always been the core of Star Wars.
Yeah. And that's what I've been enjoying about Andor. I can't wait to see. They're filming the second season now. They haven't
Yes,
announced a release date yet. I'm hoping it'll be next fall, but
I
we'll
heard
wait
it's
and
going to
see.
be early 2024. I hope it's
Yeah.
sooner. But with how fast time flies now, I feel like this whole year went by in a month. So
Well, and I believe it's sometime next month or towards February we get the new
Bad
Mandalorian
Batch.
series. So
Bad Batch is
Bad
supposed to be
Batch
out
is
soon.
January too. Yeah,
Okay.
and
I'm
then
looking
sometime in
forward
this,
to that.
you know, after the first year we also get the Mandalorian season 3. So yeah, Bad Batch I'm really enjoying. Can't wait to see
And
more of
then
that.
the last
So
Star Wars news is they're teasing an announcement of a 5-year span of some movies. I'm guessing it's going to be a trilogy for Star Wars. But I think with Iger coming back, I have a feeling they're going to withhold that just to make sure Iger's on board with. Because I'm hearing rumors once again, the rumors Kathleen Kennedy's going to be gone now that Iger's back. But who knows? We'll see. I can only hope.
well, and the thing with that is, it's like I don't want to necessarily blame Bob Iger for what happened with the Disney Star Wars movies. That's I fully square that on Kevin Kennedy. What he did was what they had always said they would do. They spun off Marvel, supposed to be their own thing. They just
Yeah.
own it. Lucasfilm spun off, own it. She worked with, excuse me, George forever. She was supposed to continue on that
Yeah.
legacy. She
Where
changed everything.
Well, where I blame Iger is this because he always claimed Lucas knew, and I got into this online with somebody else. But in 2019, when he was stepping down from Disney, he gave a really full interview about what happened there, and it was him and Kennedy together. Kennedy came to him saying, "Listen, enough of these 40 and 50-year-old fans. The future is with the young fans. We need to do something new." And she talked Iger into allowing them to scrap Lucas's vision. And Iger also went along with not letting Lucas know. They let him on
Yeah.
thinking they were going with his story. It was the first screening that George found out. He's sitting there watching this movie going, what the heck is this? This is not my story at all. So they blindsided him
Yeah.
in the screening room with a completely different story than what he was expecting. And so that's where I do blame Iger. And they gave Kathleen Kennedy too much control. And
Well, that's where I think the problem lied is they shouldn't
yeah,
have. She should have never had that kind of control.
yes,
And I think a lot of the mini reveal stuff that basically they told her a few weeks back. Now this is before Iger came, but I'm sure they knew Iger was coming back then. They were waiting to transition at a certain time to make it better newsworthy, as well as them
yeah,
to get probably off vacation again. And so it's everything they told her to quit revealing stuff because none of it's true. And
yeah,
I think when she retires next year, which she's supposed to happen next year,
right.
and early on, we're going to see who they announce that's going to take over. And I'm really hoping it's Filoni and Favreau. I think it'd be more towards Filoni.
What
I don't think Favreau actually wants to head up the studio.
what I think it should be is, well, I think Favreau wouldn't mind it. In an interview, this was a couple years ago. I think it was during the first season of Mandalorian.
Mhm.
Someone brought that up, and he said he would just have to have a clause in there that would allow him to still make movies. As long
Right.
as he could still make movies, he would be open to it.
Yeah. I would like to see a joint thing
Yeah,
between the two.
yeah. Well, I think what needs to happen is they need to split the role. Kathleen Kennedy has too much power. I have no problem with Kathleen Kennedy staying if she's just handling the business operations side. But the creative side needs to be someone like a Filoni. So Favreau can run the studio, let Filoni run the vision. And I think that would work if he did that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we'll see because they keep saying that. I was just double checking here. Came out last year, said she was renewed till 2024, but things have changed. I think Iger's coming back. That was a year ago
and,
though. So, and that's again, she may be coming in but not have any control. But now they told her basically to stop talking about stuff that's
yeah.
not out there. I think it'll change again.
And this morning on the news, they were talking about Iger coming back, and they said Iger I don't know if this was a full address to everybody in the company or to a specific group within the company, but Iger was quoted as saying, it's time to start listening to our audience and giving them what they want, and to stop having, I forget the exact wording, but we got
Well,
to get out of the
here's
political
basically what he
controversy or
said
whatever.
was he tells the employees he wants to quiet down culture wars
Yes, that's
and
it.
respect the audience.
There
Because the
we
thing
go.
is a lot of these people that complain about Star Wars, or not Star Wars, Disney, it's like there's different groups that say, "Oh, don't watch Disney because it's anti-Christian." Then there's other people who say you should watch Disney because of this. Everybody's got their own opinion, different things, and he's like, "We got to see who's spending the money with us, and that's the
Mhm.
ones they're really going to target because that's what it is." Because they realize that the cancel culture doesn't spend money with them.
All right. Well, and the
It's
other problem is under the leadership of the last guy, they declared war against the state of Florida.
yeah,
And that they got to stay out of that. You
yeah,
are an entertainment company. Stop trying to control people's votes. And all the studios need to do this.
yeah.
Like with Georgia, they started pulling their productions from Georgia because of a bill that was passed, and they didn't. Well, we don't agree with this, and so they're pulling out. Meanwhile, they're filming in countries that had a million times stricter rules in that category than
Yeah.
what Georgia had. And other states also had similar rules they were filming in. It's just Georgia changed theirs to match these other states. So a lot of hypocrisy there. Stop, get out of politics,
Yeah.
make fun stuff.
That's the thing is I want fun stuff on that. So
Fun stuff. That's all I
so
want. I want to enjoy my entertainment.
so let's go to something else, and it's been mildly fun, not as fun as the movies, but just okay
Yes.
fun. Is the a new episode I watched this morning. There's two more after this. I believe it's 6 episodes.
Yeah.
The Santa Clauses is basically supposed to wrap up the Santa Claus series of movies in a mini series here. Um, and it's been okay. It's been great to see Tim Allen again in the
Yeah.
role, Scott Calvin. You got Elizabeth Mitchell back as Mrs. Claus. We have some new kids because they've had their own kids. You only saw her have the one in the third movie, and then they had another one after that that they kind of explained through the beginning. And then we do see Charlie for about a minute. He only did the um, one connection there. So we may be losing connections more on our Facebook. Something's going on with this. We'll have to reset everything.
Facebook. Yeah. Something's going on with Facebook.
Yeah. So it's got to be Facebook. So if you're watching us and lost us and you got to find us again, well, welcome back. I'll re-upload the videos. I'll download the video after we're done and just upload it as a video. Um, but it's been okay. It's not been horrible. I think it's a little dragged out for what they're trying to do. And in some ways, it's got some feelings of the third movie, but instead of having Jack Frost, they have a normal guy who's now going to become Santa, wanting to change everything. And because Christmas isn't Christmas anymore, and so and it even talking about the beginning of the series that the magic of Christmas is fading. So, and I really feel like even through this whole thing, I'm not even feeling the magic of Christmas through this whole series. So maybe that's by design, but I always felt like when I watched the Santa Claus movie, especially the first one, I like all three, but the first one especially, you get this great feeling of Christmas.
Well, speaking of that, what's given me hope on this is Tim Allen. He was recently talking, and when they were designing this originally, there were all these goblins and other things in the original script, and he told them we don't have to make it all about Christ, but we have to at least mention it. We have
Yep.
Christmas at its core is a Christian holiday, and we have to at least acknowledge that. And
Yep.
so it sounds like, based on what I was reading him saying, it sounds like as these episodes come out, they will acknowledge the Christ portion of Christmas, which makes me very happy. Disney, for some reason, when it's a Christian type series, there will never be a mention of Christ.
Yeah.
But like Miss Marvel, okay, she was Muslim. They want to make sure to show us what they practice. In other movies, like the what was the one? The Day of the Dead. They made sure to do that, and the one with the red panda, they had to show us them praying to their dead family members. But when it's a Christian one, can't have any prayer to Jesus. And so this makes me happy to see Tim Allen said, no, we got to at least have
they
this.
do mention in today's episode, this is not a spoiler, about the Santa coat is originally from the robe of Saint Nicholas, which is how the Christmas,
Okay.
the Santa Claus mythology goes back to Saint Nicholas, which is part of the Catholic religion.
Right. and Saint Nicholas is a real person out of
Yes.
Greece. He was Greek, and it's it's actually very fascinating reading the original story of Saint Nick.
Hmm.
He wore a red and white robe. He was actually skinny, and the funny part is he used to do a parade, and kids would bring their socks out, their stockings,
Hmm.
and he would put coal in their socks, and they would run home with it because coal was used to heat your house, so it was actually a good gift.
Right.
So that's where
And that
coal
was
and
kind of hinted
stockings
at
come into play.
in, I think last week's episode was kind of hinted at in that.
Yeah,
So
they said a different history there,
yeah.
I think, but
Well, they mentioned something about the coal. It wasn't coal a
yeah,
good thing when you're poor. Yeah.
they tied it into the witch.
No, that's right. Yeah, the Christmas witch. Yes,
Yeah,
which
she
is
claimed the
also
coal.
it's based on an Italian
Yes,
mythology. So yeah.
yep. But even that part was fun. I really like that, and
Yep.
anyways, we'll see where this goes. But I, like Brett said, I agree. It's entertaining enough. I think this is definitely the last. It's a good point to end it. I like that they're bringing up the questions that we as fans have had for a long time. What happened to the previous Mrs. Claus?
Hmm.
What? Why did no elf mourn the passing of the other Santa Claus? So I'm hoping they explore that more. So
Yeah,
we'll
they're kind
see.
of hinting at some of that stuff. They're not giving any answers yet. But we got 2 more episodes, and then there still is because it was announced early on. So this is not a spoiler. It's everywhere, all over. Return of Bernard from
Yep.
the original movie. So
And the
uh,
basic premise is he wants to retire. I was kind of expecting a dark turn, to be honest. Like it's kind of like the mob. Like, well, if you retire, something, it's going to be a problem.
right.
There's no
So
out. But
oh yeah. So what should we talk next?
well, let's see. We got Wednesday Adams. We
Oh
got
yeah.
Spirited. Hit Spirited. You saw that on Disney or Apple Plus TV or
Yeah,
whatever
I'm
it's
not going
called.
to get too deep in this because this just came out, and it's a musical, and I personally like musicals myself. It's I've never had a problem with any musicals or going to see musicals just because it's a musical. Some people don't like them. I know people that tell me they can't stand the music because I don't understand why they have to be singing while they're going through this. Um, this was a Will Ferrell movie, and he's returned to Christmas, and he got also Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds, and he's actually playing a smart aleck character who's the one they're going to try to redeem because Spirited is basically it's a Christmas Carol,
Wait
and
a
is
minute.
the
Ryan
continuance.
Reynolds is playing a smart aleck character.
I know, I know.
This is he's stretching his acting
That's
chops
why I
here.
said Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds. It was fun. It was good. The lines were very well written. He, of course, he's got the witty so like that. Um, the basic premise is it starts off with a you see that they're haunting a female and they're ghosts. They're basically the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. It is the Christmas Carol, and Will Ferrell is the ghost of Christmas present. So he's the most important ghost because he's got the most time with somebody and helps redeem them before the ghost of Christmas future shows up, which of course still the rogue bone character pointing all the time. And what's funny is the character can't talk to the person they're haunting, the ghost of Christmas future, can only make just noises. But when they're back in their own realm preparing, it's the voice of Tracy Morgan,
Oh.
which I thought was hilarious. I was not expected on that. So I like the premise of the movie that since basically since Scrooge, Scrooge was the only other unredeemable person that was redeemed. Only person unredeemable that was redeemed. Usually they try to find something to be redeemed because it puts waves of basically good throughout when they do that. So like the person they redeemed this time, of course, her name was Karen. So they were doing and didn't get too deep into like the Karen thing, but they mentioned Karen as her name, and she was kind of the mean neighbor. Looked like mid-30s or so, and she hates the kids in their neighborhood and stuff like that. But then of course, because of that night, she turns herself around and is out there playing street ball with everybody. Of course, in her town, her cul-de-sac, everybody goes outside and plays on Christmas Day. So I think they're kind of some version of the Who's, uh,
Yeah.
and that. But it was fun. I recommend if you got Apple TV, watch it, see if you like it. Some of the songs are good, some are a little overdone.
And
Um,
Ryan Reynolds can actually sing.
Yeah, no, he was good.
He's good at singing.
What probably would have made this movie brilliant would have been one thing and one thing only. And this is nothing against Will Ferrell. I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan. I thought he did just fine in this. I like him in Elf, but this should have been Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds spirited, and Hugh Jackman should have been the Will Ferrell character. And it would have been great to see them going off each other. So, I see Derpy commented, "Hey, Derpy, we did talk some Andor earlier on, so after the show, you can definitely go back and rewatch the beginning." So, but
we're not gonna re-talk the whole show.
No. So yeah, and if you're missing anything of the episode on our streaming, just check out YouTube. But yeah, it was fun. It was fine. It was what we're seeing. It's predictable. You kind of figure out some things right away that they don't announce till later on. You can see how things are going to go, and so I definitely recommend checking it out once. I know people are really loving it. I personally, I don't know if it'll ever be in my rotation, but there's a lot of aspects I like, and I like the continuing on of the Dickens Christmas Carol of, hey, these ghosts do this every year. They find someone and they try to redeem them, and it goes from there. So, and they build the sets basically to drag them through their past, present, and then future. So I thought that was a cool concept. And in some ways, don't have big stars. They could actually have done that as a mini series in some ways instead of just a musical movie. If they did it more serious without the musical stuff, I think it would have been just fine too. So, well, yeah,
very good. Let's see, another one that's hitting everybody is Wednesday on Netflix.
Oh man, I was excited about this and
pleasantly surprised by it for me.
Yeah, I was excited because I like the Addams Family and always have.
Yeah.
It's always been something that I've enjoyed. I love the original series. I enjoy the movies that have come out over the years. I've enjoyed the animated ones. I've even read over the years different times some of the original Charles Addams strips, which is what this is kind of based on. Is based more on taken from the comic strips and not the movies, not the TV show. And while she does have a resemblance to Christina Ricci, and she does in some ways remind you of her, she's talked about that she didn't go to her for any advice. She just kind of played it the way she felt. And when you see different versions of it, definitely, I think she hit the character Wednesday. Yeah, Derpy, we're not going to get too deep into this story.
Yeah, we're not because it's spoilers.
It's been out for a week. I watched the whole thing. I personally enjoyed it. And then with Kevin last weekend, we were sitting around and waiting between football games after Michigan trounced the Ohio State Buckeyes.
I got to catch the last quarter of that, so that was fun.
Which was the best quarter. And then we were waiting for the Notre Dame game to start. So he put this on, and I watched again the first 2 episodes, and it holds up. It's got some different feels to it. I really got like a slight Harry Potter movie feel to it.
Yeah,
you get the Burton-esque to it with some of the design, the colors. He doesn't mute all the colors, but you get they do and they explain some of the characters like early on. This is not a big spoiler because this is in the first episode. Is Wednesday is you find out she's allergic to color, so her school outfit is different than the other students in terms of hers has a lack of color. Which I find interesting. She can touch color, stuff like that, but wearing color, she would be allergic to it. And then you get to all the little Adamses stuff, things like that. Thing was amazing. The biggest critique was Luis Guzman as Gomez. And here's the thing. He looks exactly like Gomez did in the comic strip. He was kind of a short, pudgy, stocky guy, and wasn't the good looking guy. Now, when they show a picture of Morticia and Gomez during the series, see a picture from them when they were younger, they are better looking couple, younger couple. And the one thing I think through this series I would like to see is if they can do more Wednesday, but they could do a spinoff and do a young Morticia and Gomez.
I did like the flashback they did and showing the younger the younger version of him kind of had the feel of who was the popular actor that played him? Who played?
Raul Julia.
Yeah, he had that more of that feel as the younger version. Of himself.
Yeah, more Raul versus John Astin, who just turned 91, by the way.
Yeah.
So but I really liked it. I liked the story of it. It's got a hint of different things. It didn't feel totally Burton-esque where it had to be constantly weird.
Yeah.
But there's nods to the original series. There's nods to different things.
Yeah,
Um, you'll pick up the little Easter eggs here and there along the way. But I liked how we actually got not just Wednesday fleshed out more, but we saw learn a little bit more about Fester. You learn a little bit more about Morticia and Gomez and their past more, as well as hinting about more and more of the Adams, clan that you always hear
yeah.
about through the different movies and things like that. So
Yeah, they did a good job of, I like Brett said, it's a blend. Like I think he could have switched out Wednesday Adams for Velma, and this would have been a good origin story for Velma in Scooby Doo because of the mystery she's trying to unravel there.
right,
And so like there was a fun mystery element combined with like the Harry Potter magic slash school. Combine that maybe with Monster High or something like that. But it did it in its way that it's its own thing. It doesn't feel like it's not like, oh, this is just copying this or this. It's
yeah,
its own thing, and I thought they did a good job. I think it puts all the best parts of Tim Burton in it without going overboard. Sometimes Tim
yeah.
Burton can go very overboard with his look. It's got the stylization in there, but what did we say it felt like when we were talking yesterday? The Headless Horseman.
Oh,
Movie
Sleepy
we did.
Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow, like it had more of that feel,
Yep.
and so I really liked it. My only criticism of the movie or of the series is I felt the creature is too CGI to compare to the rest of this universe they created. I think they should have gone with more practical effects, but that's my
Yeah.
only criticism.
Yeah. The creature had a very Burton-esque, kind of almost Beetlejuice feel to it. Like it came out of
Mm.
that world.
Yeah,
Um,
Beetlejuice, it would fit
yeah.
in.
So, but to me, it didn't bother me as much when and of course, we can't get into what that is because it's just it's
Yeah, we don't
part
want
of
to
the
spoil.
not a spoilers night. So, definitely, I highly recommend it. It was 8 episodes. They're about 45 minutes each. I think it
Yeah.
is a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter, but they go by fast. I watched it. I got up Thanksgiving morning, and since I didn't have to work that day, and I was going to cook a little bit later, I didn't have to cook right away. I got up, watched a few episodes because I was up early enough because my schedule is early anyways. And then after the day was done, I got home and ended up. I was going to stop. I think around episode 6. I was like, just one more, and then just once more. So I was up to like midnight watching the whole
Yeah.
series and that. And this is a series I'm definitely going to revisit again and watch through again because I really enjoyed it. I like all the characters, the actors, things like that. So,
Yeah.
um,
As of right now, season 2 is not confirmed, but they shattered all their records for watching it. So I think season 2 is pretty much a guarantee.
yeah,
I'd be shocked if there's not a season 2 to this. I thought it was really well done, and based on how it went, I look forward to seeing season 2.
yep. So, and I'm sure it's going to get renewed sooner than later. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, hey, I think we covered everything.
No, really quick. Christmas Story Christmas.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Watch
yeah.
that on HBO Max. It was okay. It was good. It was fun. It was more nostalgia than anything.
I liked,
Revisiting the characters,
I
seeing
liked
where they're
it. I
at. I
liked the
enjoyed it.
nostalgia. Yeah,
Yeah.
we get the original Ralphie back. He's an adult now. They referenced some stuff from the original Christmas story. He had his own little story
Yeah.
going on. And it was nice to see. And it was definitely. I mean, you get the Scott Farkas back.
Mhm.
You get Flick and Schwartz. They're back,
Yep.
and you see where they've all ended up. It's got a slight more adult feel in some ways, but not overly adult.
Yeah.
But of course, the original had some of
It's
that too. So
yeah. But if you like the original, watch it. It'll be worth seeing. But the original, I still will watch that 2 or 3 times every year when it's on the 24-hour thing there. I'll put it on. I love watching it. This one I'll probably never watch again. I enjoyed it, but it doesn't have the magic that the first one had. The first one I'll put on every year.
yeah. This is one that I don't know if I'll watch every year, but I would definitely revisit again down the road.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. The look of it, they tried to capture the look of the original in terms of set design,
Yeah.
filmmaking, things like that. It's tough to capture something like that. And in fact, people forget that the original Christmas Story didn't do well originally when it came out. It was after it started airing on TV that it really took off in popularity. Uh, I remember when it came out, I remember seeing it and then of course it'd pop up like on HBO and then a little bit on TV. But it's when TBS started doing the 24-hour runs, it really took off in popularity. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So I think that covers everything now. Is there anything else?
I Don't
I
think
think
so.
we
You
hit
know,
everything that was on our, our
yeah, we had a few
promotional
weeks
list.
of stuff like that, so we'll
Yeah.
talk a little Willow maybe next week. First two episodes
Yeah.
dropped
Yeah.
today.
I want to watch that. And I don't know if any movies are coming out. We've had Quentin Tarantino crying about Marvel actors not being movie stars.
Well, here's the
I'm so
thing, and
tired of that.
here's the he needs to stop talking about that. James Cameron, I'm so tired of him talking about superhero movies aren't real movies, and
Yeah.
he's also been kind of quoted as saying that if this Avatar doesn't do well, he's just done. And I'm like, well, if your movie sucks, I'm sorry, I don't care how pretty it is.
Yeah.
I know people that they still talk about, oh, I like the original Avatar, I can't wait to see the new one, I like it, but nobody really talks about watching Avatar on a rotation. I saw it once, I'm good. I That's one of the movies that I didn't dislike it. I knew it, when going through it, what it was, some things like that, but it was just fine. To do sequels from it, I never really felt that there was need to expound on that world. Um, I haven't decided if I'm even going to go see it in the theater. If I do,
Yeah.
it's probably because somebody else says, "Hey, I want to go see it with me." But it's a
Yeah.
3-hour movie, and I'm like, do I want to commit time to that again? And go
Yeah.
from there. So,
Well, and for me, I don't mind if James Cameron fails. So I,
well,
yeah, ever since he made the comment that if you're a conservative, you should be taken outside and shot, I kind of feel like, well, okay, he he has that right to think that, but I don't have to spend my money on him.
right. So, but yeah, so I just, we'll see. I just don't have any real desire right now to see that. So,
Yeah.
um, but it's fine. I mean, I know people are excited about it at the same time. It's like, I mean, from our Comic-Con perspective, initially when it came out, saw cosplayers, people dress up. I've seen maybe 5 in the last
Yeah.
10 years.
It's the most bizarre phenomenon to me in that it's such a record-breaking movie, and yet somehow, like, none of its phrases or anything have really taken into, like, people don't quote it. Ask people to name a character from it. Nobody can name a character, even the main characters.
Right.
It, like, there's nothing about this. Nobody does artwork for it. Nobody's seeking art for it. It's bizarre.
I about once every 4 or 5 years, I would get somebody that would ask about if I did anything based on Avatar, and right away I go to the animated Avatar cartoon, with the Buddhist monk kid.
Yeah.
And but no, it's the thing about it was, I remember when it came out, and then we'll end the show here. 2009 it comes out, and it revolutionized some different groundbreaking visual effects.
Yeah.
That's really what it was. And in terms of story, it was fine. I sat
Yeah.
through the thing going, okay, this story's okay. Yeah, I've seen this story before. Okay, yeah. Kevin Costner did a better job. Okay, yeah.
The biggest thing with it was its world building using 3D. He was really utilizing the new 3D technology at the time, and that's what made it, from a visual, it was a visual spectacle. Like, wow. And he did a masterful job on that part, creating this visual world and utilizing this 3D, and it's almost like a hyper 3D where it just became like, whoa, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
But everything else about it is, like Brett said, it's been done. It's nothing groundbreaking, nothing that people have said, wow, I am going to remember this forever. So, it is what it is. From the trailer, once again, all these underwater scenes, it looks spectacular from a visual standpoint. But part of the problem with it too is he took too long. Had he done this sequel 5 years after the first one, it probably would have more legs.
Yeah.
But as an audience, we're used to these high end.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how when
graphics.
it comes out though with that, because like you said, the graphics the animation and everything else is very high end. But the thing is, if that story sucks,
yeah,
we're gonna notice the week 2 drop off. That's the key to look at. If it doesn't keep, if it has a 40% drop off, then it's good. If it has 50 to 60% or more,
or 70,
then it's not going to last. I mean, that's Rise of the Skywalker. Look at that; it was such a huge drop. Rise of Skywalker. The only reason it stayed in the theater as long as it did is they had a contract. You had to keep it in for, I forget, like 5 weeks.
Right. Yeah. So they forced it to stay longer. Yeah. And that's the thing. People get on their high horse on opening weekend tallies. That has no indication. Opening weekend tally is the all that has to do is with the buildup, the anticipation. It means a lot of people were looking forward to this.
Yes.
That's what opening weekend sales are. Second week sales tells you if it was good.
Yeah.
And Black Adam, everyone who was the Black Adam supporters were like, see, it did 300 million and blah, 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 best movie ever. But then week 2, it plummeted and they've only done 400 million total. So,
and like with Scott, I've talked about Star Wars. We see that a bunch of times, but it's also like with Black Adam. It's like a lot in movies like that drop off so much. The people that see it initially are praising it, still aren't going back to see it again.
yeah.
In the numbers that they should to keep it sustained.
Yeah, the Star Wars ones, Last Jedi. Every like the prequel movies, the regular movie, I would see a minimum of 10 times each, and I'm not exaggerating. Minimum 10 times in the theater. Yeah. Last Jedi, I saw opening weekend. I saw it one time. Never went back to see it again at the theater.
I saw it twice, and the reason I saw it
night, you're right.
And then I went back the next morning thinking, right, did I really just see that? And I went and saw it again. Like, okay.
I actually erased my memory on that. I did the same thing. I saw it and I walked out going, what the heck did I see? And then I went back a couple days later. It was still that weekend. Saw it again. I walked out saying, oh my God, it was actually worse than my initial reaction. Yeah. And so I did see it twice. So I take that back. But
yeah. I've seen it one more time since then. Is I did a binge through all the Star Wars the other year, and then I probably won't. I have it, but I probably won't ever watch it again because there's really no need to.
Right. Yeah, and unfortunately, because of that, Rise of Skywalker, there's no need to watch that because for me, I really enjoyed The Force Awakens. For me, that was a perfect point where the series they paid enough homage to the old. It was a soft reboot. They were moving forward with new characters. They paid enough homage to the original. I understood what they were doing, and there was a path. I felt this could be really good. So for me, the movie series ends with episode 7. I'll rewatch episode 7 still, but 8 and 9, I don't watch anymore.
Yeah, I think right now, and we're talking about movies coming out that I want to see. I want to see Violent Night with David Harbour.
Yeah,
and
that's a Santa Claus one.
Santa Claus one, yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the one that came out. Mel Gibson was Fat Man.
Fat Man, yep.
I really enjoyed.
Yeah, this actually the Violent Night reminds me of a graphic novel that came out. It was called The Last Christmas several years ago. It has a similar feel to that. So we'll see on that. But I'm trying to think of anything else. I was like,
yeah, usually there's a bunch of movies this time of year, isn't there? I feel like, well, I guess we just had Black Panther. We didn't even talk about Black Panther. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
I know people that liked it. Some that are okay. I'll
never watch it again.
If I get a chance to see it, I'll be fine. But I've been busy. So Puss in Boots has a new animated movie coming out. I thought the trailer looked horrible. They're doing a remake of House Party where they break into LeBron James' house. I thought that was stupid. I personally like just go back to the original House Party. That was brilliant. The original House Party was a great movie.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of anniversary movies being presented on this list I'm looking at, 30, 40, 25 years, stuff like that. Feels like there should be stuff on here, but it goes up to next year. So yeah, it's Fandango. I was just seeing what they had listed. But yeah, it's realistically, and this is what's
I think we're entering a stage where like all the stuff that was in semi-production during COVID, they were able to finish that off and get those out. And then because of the gap, I think we now have all the stuff that started production. It's not ready yet. So we have this gap of like a void right now.
Right. And we had some things that got moved. Shazam got moved a couple months, which I think is smart. I think it'll do better than it would do in December.
I think my prediction is Shazam 2 will outdo Black Adam. And I think that's going to be hilarious since Dwayne Johnson didn't want anything to do with Shazam.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's just not tons coming out. It's a lot of stuff for next starting to come out next year. So, yeah.
But a lot on the streaming services. So we got stuff there to enjoy.
Yep. So, hey, join us next week. We'll talk a little Willow, cover the first couple episodes, so you got a week to watch that, and then we'll see what else we decide to, talk your ears off about and go an extra 10 minutes over again. So, hey, see you.
Take care.